guys, I'm just going to walk through drawing 3D here because this is an important thing in terms of scale and drawing your diagrams correctly. Okay, so the first thing we have for D is that the object goes 12 meters south. Okay, so 12 meters due south. Then it goes 15 meters, which is longer than this line, but it does so at 55 degrees east of north. So that's, okay, here's our north line, right? But we're going to go more than halfway towards east in terms of our direction, right? Because 45 would be halfway there. We're going 10 degrees further than that. So even though this line is longer than the 12, it still ends up way short of getting back up to here. Okay, and it's a very common misconception with this particular question is that, oh, well, this line's longer, so it must get up even with it. But there's no way. Okay, it's angled more than 45. If it was angled at 45 degrees, it would have to be 18 meters long in order to get back to even with this 12-meter line. All right, this is more than that, so it's definitely not getting all the way back up there. Okay, so here's our 55 degrees, here's our 15 meters, here's X, here's Y, okay, and we're looking for our resultant, okay, here. Okay, which is why we get 75 degrees east of south. So it's actually, the answer has that angle right there. Okay, the way I drew it would find the complementary angle to that, which would be 15 degrees south of east. All right, so again, scale's important. If we don't draw it to scale, it's not going to look right. Our math will say something that our picture doesn't say. And of course, as I said before, we'll trust our picture because drawing's easy and math is hard, when it's always the other way. Okay, we did the math right and drew the picture wrong. Okay, so just keep that in mind on one like that. Are there any others that we need to quickly look at? Okay, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Stop what you're doing. Take 3 minutes, check your phone, talk to your friend. Okay, take a little break, and then we're going to come back. Number 11, number 10, okay, are what we call boat questions. I understand that this one's actually a plane, but it's still a boat, okay? And what you have anytime you have a boat or a plane is that you have the direction the plane is flying, and then you have other factors that might be pushing on it, mainly wind if it's a plane, or current in a river if it's a boat. Everyone kind of follow me there? Okay, if you're in a river and you want to row straight across the river, like actually end up straight across, do you actually aim straight across? No, you head into the current a little bit so the current will push you back. That's what this question is saying. Okay, this question is saying a pilot wants to end up going west. Okay, it says the resultant is west. Okay, so the plane, the pilot wants. Yes, he wants to. Okay, all right. So he wants to end up doing this. All right. The plane has an airspeed of 95 meters per second, and there's a 25 meter per second wind that is blowing north. Okay, so the wind is blowing north, and the plane can move at 95 meters per second. This is going to be my resultant. Okay, it's going to be my average velocity in meters per second. So let's write average velocity there. All right, so I need two things that will combine to form this. I know one of them is the 25 meters per second of the wind. Okay, so I'm going to draw that on here. I know I'm drawing that tail to tail or head to head, but remember, this is my resultant. The black line is my resultant. Here's the wind, 25 meters per second. And then, like we said, if I want to end up going due west, like the black line shows, and I've got a wind of 25 meters per second, I need to head slightly into the wind when I'm flying my plane. So in this case, the resultant isn't the hypotenuse. First time that's happened to us, okay? Every other time, the resultant has been the hypotenuse of the triangle. But if I'm flying slightly into the wind, then my resultant's actually slower, right? The wind is slowing me down a little bit as I fly, right? So I know that I'm looking for this angle right here. That's the heading I would have to take if I wanted to end up going due west. That sort of makes sense to everybody? Okay, boat questions work the same. Okay, in a boat question, you have the river and you have the rowing speed of the boat, okay, and then you have the speed of the current, and you end up doing this. If you want to end up going straight across the river, then you have to head into the current, and the current pushes you back to straight. Okay, so you have to read the question to see the context. Is it wanting to know this situation, or is it saying you aimed straight across, where are you going to end up? Right? Some of the questions will be phrased that way. Okay, so when you get to those, that's what those are dealing with. Okay, boat questions are just perpendicular, right? They're nothing, where you have to find a bunch of X's and Y's and do a bunch of trig. They're just perpendicular vectors. Okay, but they're confusing in their wording.